SG, do you want us to talk a little bit about flat Earth with us?
I'm perfectly willing. Um, I'd like to highlight to folks out there that the nature of the Earth, sort of a backseat issue that we should all worry about and come to later. We will awaken to whatever that truth is. I have my lens on that. Most other people have lenses on that are well established. There's nothing wrong with that. My own belief system is that we live on a plane. My own belief system is that we have a firmament above us. That firmament functions as our existential clock. It's our celestial clock. It governs the cycle of our seasons. It beams energy into this world at different points throughout time, this concept and construct of time that we know. The moon is a part of that clock. The sun is a part of that clock. Those entities, in my belief, again, are local entities. They're not 90 million miles away. Or 285,000, I think, or 245,000 miles away. I don't believe that they are that far away. And that Antarctica is actually the Antarctic ring, which goes around what our realm is. Our realm is a water world. We have an Earth here that is vast and large. We have a planet, if we can call it that, that is much, much larger than what we believe, has other realms that are on it as well, all contained beneath the same firmament. They just see different stars where they're at. Excuse me. Some of those realms contain other sentient beings who have made visits, overtures, have been among us for a very long time. But again, because of the nature of control in this realm over what we know to be our world, that's not safe really for tourism. So as we've gone through this journey as mankind, we're now at a pivotal point in this realm where we're taking back those levers and power structures. And it's my belief that some of those I call them other sentient beings, OSBs, are here assisting us in certain capacities with that. I have no knowledge about what those might be, except to say spiritually enhancing, if you will. We have evidence all throughout our Earth of these other sentient beings at different points along the way, coming and paying us visits, some of them meaning us well, some of them aligned with this Luciferian cabal and meaning us ill. And evidence for that, what is today? Today is Thursday. Well, Thursday is rooted in Thor's Day. That's where that came from. So, as we go and we look at this lens, it's important to look at the circumstantial proof that we have throughout the ages. It's very difficult to find exact proof about this particular issue. Why? Because they had to destroy most of it. It was the only way for them to sort of encourage us out of this idea that our Creator was very near and very local. Our Creator is right above our heads. We're not separate from that divine love. We're not separate from that source of all things. It's very real and it's right above us. It's my belief that the reason Antarctica is the most militarized piece of land in the world, and why there is a treaty in place and has been in place for a very long time, where all of the world's nations who can never agree on anything all agreed to restrict travel to Antarctica, regardless if it was privately funded or not. And a significant amount of the Pentagon DoD budget gets funneled into research and development, programs and things like that are going on for study in Antarctica. That tells me that there's much more going on there than what we know. Now, all of that being said, when we look at media, we know that media and movies and entertainment are often a way, very often a way actually, that this cabal tells us the truth without telling us the truth. Mm-hmm. They like to goof on us through that and make it seem like it's pretend. Go back and look at all of the films that discuss technology hidden beneath Antarctica or discuss other beings hidden beneath continents. This world that we live in is really sci-fi. We have connections with other sentient races. We're not alone in this universe. The God of all things did not sort of place us as the only thing to glorify himself with, but we are the rulers of this realm. We are the regents of this realm. This is our world. Everything that we know as our Earth is supposed to be ours. But our Earth is part of a much larger complex, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, of a much larger constellation of civilizations that are out there contained underneath the same firmament we have. But because it is so vast, it's going to appear different optically and from a perspective vantage point for all of them. I'm also not against the idea that our flat plane is the only, or is not the only one. It's very possible that we have other planes out there, and that's why we have this concept called expanse of the universe, where we can go, quote, off-world, but maybe through a different mode than space travel. It's really important to highlight that just about everything that the Cabal says is a lie. The Cabal has told us that space is real. The Cabal has been funneling our tax dollars, about $550 billion of laundered money, into NASA over the last 60 years. And for what? We know that they faked the moon landings, and the cameras weren't even that expensive. So where did all of that money go? Why is it being used the way it's being used? Why does NASA announce every so-called launch of a rocket with T minus? Well, I can tell you, the word NASA re-scrambled is S-A-A-N, add a T, and then you have Satan. So it's Satan minus T. So it's worth highlighting, in my estimation, that we can't really trust what's always been presented to us. And cutting us off from our Creator is an extremely powerful move. That's an extremely powerful lever of control, making us feel like we're somehow far away and separate. We're not. The love that sustains all things is very real and very close to us. And if we all had that sort of comfort collectively in our own soul, we would never be controllable. Right. So it makes a lot of sense that they would hide this from us. We could go on and on about this topic. Everyone's pretty entrenched with their understandings about it, and that's okay. It's how you relate to the universe, and it's your spiritual journey that you're on right now. What's important to note is that at some point along the way, I believe in our lifetimes, we will all be aligned on our understanding of who we are and what this world really is, regardless of what shape it takes.
Now, I always want to talk about the language that they use and how they use the letters and the words to confuse us. And they call it a planet, like a planet, like a smaller portion of a plane. So a planet, but they put the enunciation different, so it's a planet. But if we look at the language, we can say, well, the planet is just a smaller portion of a plane. So they kind of tell us in the words, but then they say something verbally different.
Fault lines are used often to describe or excuse, I should say, maybe scapegoat for things that are going on within the earth. I don't really have a lot of evidence that I can dig up where I truly believe fault lines in the way that they describe them are real. And it's worth noting that the word fault Oh, I lost you there. Am I back?
Yeah.
You're back.
I lost you. Am I back?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Okay. It's worth noting that the word fault is taken from the Latin falsus, which means a deception. So they sort of stick it in our face at any chance that they get. It's how they skirt karma. These people believe that the energy they put out can come back on them and harm them. So they give it to us without giving it to us. It's their way of sort of getting our implicit and implied consent without us really knowing what we're consenting to. It's basically the terms of agreement for anything that you've ever had to agree to. There's 700 pages of document, to go through. They know that you're not going to read it, but contained within that are all of the things that they can do now. And it's sort of a forced implied consent, if you will. And that's how they work with this linguistic programming, this duality of message. The Mossad, for example, the seat of the Five Eyes, the controlling power of the Five Eyes intel mercenary community, one of the main enemies of the people and one of the enemies that we're going to publicly see, we're going to publicly be dealing with before very long, I believe this year or early next year. If we rearrange the letters in that and take out one S, we get the word Sodom. So it's really important to understand that they goof on us through symbolism, and they believe symbolism is real. They believe all of this is real. And if they believe that, and they've had access to and control of the information, and they've been the ones primarily throughout history that have destroyed various records or have taken and hidden various records away from us, it may be worth paying attention to.